What does that even mean? Hello? So here we are. It's September 29th, 2025, and you might be hearing a lot of talk about a government shutdown. It sounds dramatic, doesn't it? Like someone just flipped a giant off switch on the entire country, but it's not quite that simple, and also, it's a lot more complicated. A government shutdown is essentially a pause button. It happens when the United States Congress fails to pass funding legislation, which is a fancy way of saying they can't agree on a budget to pay for government operations. Without that approved funding, federal agencies have to stop all work that is considered non-essential. It's a uniquely American political phenomenon rooted in the constitutional separation of powers between Congress, which controls the money, and the president, who runs the executive branch. At its heart, a government shutdown is the result of a fundamental disagreement over priorities. It's about what we, as a country, should spend our money on and how much we should spend. It's a battle over deeply held political and ideological beliefs. One party might push for environmental protection and education, another might prioritize tax cuts and increased military spending. When these competing visions won't compromise, Congress can reach a stalemate. They can't agree on the 12 appropriations bills, and the clock runs out. The process is supposed to be orderly. The president submits, the House and Senate each work, committees hash out differences, and final bills go for signature. But in recent years, single hot-button issues, like a border wall, the debt ceiling, or healthcare, turn must-pass bills into high-stakes leverage. In 2025, sticking points include clean energy funding and the size of the foreign aid budget. When a government shutdown begins, the first question is, what actually closes? The answer is complicated. It depends on the distinction between essential and non-essential services. Each agency decides under legal guidelines set by the Office of Management and Budget. Functions necessary to protect life and property, national security, public safety, critical health services continue. But the people doing them might not get paid on time. The military, air traffic control, TSA, law enforcement, and border patrol stay on duty. The Postal Service, Social Security, and Medicare payments keep going. Non-essential services pause. National parks and Smithsonian, passport and visa processing, small business and housing programs, research grants, EPA inspections, and IRS taxpayer services. It's a cascading failure. The longer it lasts, the more disruptions pile up. The shutdown creates a sharp divide, not just in services, but in the experiences of the people who provide them. On one side, essential employees are required by law to show up, without pay. Imagine an air traffic controller responsible for thousands of passengers yet unsure when the next paycheck will arrive, or a Coast Guard member on a search and rescue mission facing the same anxiety. During the 2018-2019 shutdown, TSA agents set up food banks and airports to help colleagues. They keep performing high-stress duties while dealing with missed paychecks, draining savings, accruing debt, taking second jobs to cover rent, mortgages, and groceries. Non-essential employees are furloughed, sent home without pay, barred from work email, often applying for unemployment they may later repay. Critical studies pause, records go unpreserved, parks and monuments close, real consequences from work labeled non-essential. They're not fired, but not working or paid. Limbo erodes morale. Behind the headlines are hundreds of thousands of families thrown into chaos by gridlock. Beyond labels, the human cost is profound. As of today, an estimated 800,000 federal employees face furlough or work without pay. Many live paycheck to paycheck. Income halts can trigger missed rent, car defaults, and food insecurity. Consider a family near a military base, one essential at a shipyard, one furloughed at education. Overnight, income is cut in half. The mortgage, utilities, and groceries don't wait. Do they dip into college savings, risk a late car payment? Furloughed workers feel devalued, essential workers feel overburdened, resentment grows. Shutdowns damage government's reputation as an employer and hinder recruitment, from scientists and engineers to cybersecurity experts. Local businesses reliant on federal workers see sales drop. In 2018-2019, the economy lost about $11 billion, at least $3 billion permanently. It's a self-inflicted blow to Main Street. You might think a shutdown won't affect you, but the government is woven into our economy. Partial closure creates ripples that touch nearly everyone. FDA suspends some routine food safety inspections. High-risk checks continue, but gaps can emerge. The economy takes a hit, beyond lost wages. Contractors stall when federal oversight pauses, causing layoffs and private sector instability. Uncertainty chills investment and spending, slowing growth. Buying a home, IRS verification and FHA or VA processing can face weeks of delay. Permits lag, access restricts, and passport lines grow. We see how many essential threads tie Washington to daily life. So, with the government partially closed and people feeling the effects, how does this get fixed? The path is political, intense negotiations, public posturing, and a lot of finger-pointing. Blame games start immediately, each side shaping the narrative, watching polls. Coverage amplifies conflict while real talks start slowly. Both sides dig in. Standoffs can last days or weeks until costs rise. Visible pain, food banks, delayed services, economic warnings shifts the calculus. Serious closed-door talks seek a face-saving compromise. They adjust spending, add or remove a controversial rider, or agree to a short-term funding bill to reopen while hammering out a longer deal. When the pain becomes unbearable, Washington reaches for a continuing resolution, or CR. It's a temporary spending bill, weeks or months, that reopens government but doesn't resolve the underlying dispute. It largely funds at prior year levels, kicking the can down the road. Negotiations decide how long it lasts. Shorter CRs keep pressure, longer ones defer conflict. Most CRs are clean. Attempts to add policy changes can reignite the fight. Once passed by the House and Senate and signed, agencies resume, furloughed employees return, parks and museums reopen. But the backlog is massive. Emails, applications, projects, taking weeks or months to clear. Governing by CR creates uncertainty, blocks long-term planning, and signals deeper dysfunction, a bandage on a wound needing stitches. So as we sit here on September 29, 2025, on the brink of another shutdown, it's easy to feel cynical. It can seem distant, but it isn't. A shutdown is more than a headline. It's a failure of governance with tangible consequences. It disrupts services and harms the economy and inflicts hardship on public servants. It's a problem that belongs to all of us. Understanding the process is the first step. Shutdowns come from political choices and a breakdown in Congress's basic duty to fund the government. Checks and balances are meant to foster compromise. In polarized times, they can yield paralysis. The cost is paid by the public, in delays, economic losses, and rising distrust. Shutdowns signal that the machinery of government is stalled. They reveal an unwillingness to compromise in a diverse nation. If we can't pass a budget, we'll struggle with bigger challenges: inequality, climate change, national security, public health. This story is about the park ranger, the scientist put on hold, the small business owner who can't get a loan, and the federal employee worrying about feeding a family. Governance is not a game. Decisions or indecision in Washington shape lives everywhere. That's why understanding this strange, disruptive process matters.